barren land, with nothing but a staff in hand. Like Moses searching for the flame, I called out to the voice that knew my name. 40 nights and 40 days, I stumbled through the desert's maze, looking for a sign, a burning tree. But the only fire was inside of me. In the desert of my soul, I found the light, a whisper in the wind through the darkest night. Every trial, every tear, every mountain high led me closer to the place where angels cry. In the desert of my soul, I found my way, a promise in the stars that would never stray. Like Jonah trapped inside the whale, I faced my fears, I broke the veil. In the belly of doubt, I prayed for grace and found salvation in that hidden place. Like David with his stone and sling, I fought the giants that doubt can bring. With faith as small as a mustard seed, I moved the mountains, I was finally freed. In the desert of my soul, I found the light, a whisper in the wind through the darkest night. Every trial, every tear, every mountain high led me closer to the place where angels cry. In the desert of my soul, I found my way, a promise in the stars that will never stray. Like Joseph in the pit, betrayed and sold, I held on to the dreams that never grow old. Through the prison walls and the darkest night, I rose to the throne where everything felt right. Like Paul on the road to Damascus bright, I was blinded by grace and given new sight. Now I walk in the light, no longer afraid, for in the desert of my soul I found what was made. In the desert of my soul I found the light, a whisper in the wind through the darkest night. Every trial, every tear, every mountain high led me closer to the place where angels cry. In the desert of my soul I found my way, a promise in the stars that will never stray. Now I stand on the promised land, with faith like fire in every strand. For in the desert of my soul I met the King, and in His presence my heart will forever sing. In the desert of my soul I am whole, for I found my home, I found my goal. From a broken home, cast away, but a warrior's strength led my way. Called by the people in desperate need, to fight their battle, to take the lead. I called on God with words so bold, a promise made as the tale unfolds. But little did I know the cost, that in my victory all was lost. Oh, Jephthah's vow, so rash, so deep, a promise made I couldn't keep. Victory won, but at what price? I lost my heart in sacrifice. The Ammonites fell, the war was done, but the pain had only just begun. For as I returned in triumph's glow, the weight of my words began to grow. She danced to greet me at the gate, my only child, my cruel fate. The joy in her eyes, the hope so bright, turned to sorrow on that fateful night. Oh, Jephthah's vow, so rash, so deep, a promise made I couldn't keep. Victory won, but at what price? I lost my heart in sacrifice. I cried, oh God, how can this be? Did I not do what you asked of me? But vows once spoken, they bind us still, and now my heart must pay the bill. Upon the hills they mourn her name. Each year they gather, relive the pain. I fought for peace, I fought for grace, but in the end I lost my place. Let this story be told with care, a warning to those who speak in prayer. For promises made in the heat of strife can cost a man his very life. Oh, Jephthah's vow, so rash, so deep, a promise made I couldn't keep. Victory won, but at what price? I lost my heart in sacrifice. Jephthah's vow, a lesson clear, to weigh our words, to hold them dear. For in the end, when the battle's through, what you hold on to might cost you too. There was a young man full of dreams, with fire in his eyes. He sought the world's pleasures, chasing every prize. He left his father's house with riches in his hand, but soon he found that freedom wasn't what he planned. The wayward son had wandered far from home, in the streets of distant cities. He felt so alone, but there's a light that shines even in the darkest night, and a father who's waiting with arms open wide. The money quickly vanished like sand through his fingers. He was left with nothing but the memories that lingered. Among the swine in a land of despair, but he longed for the comfort of his father's love and care. The wayward son had wandered far from home, in the streets of distant cities. He felt so alone, but there's a light that shines even in the darkest night, who's waiting with arms open wide. He thought, I'll return to my father, though I'm no longer his son. Maybe as a servant I'll find a place I belong. But as he neared the homestead with his heart filled with dread, he saw his father running, tears of joy being shed. The wayward son had wandered far from home, but the love of his father had never left him alone. For there's a light that shines even in the darkest night, and a father who's waiting with arms open wide. The father's arms embraced him, no anger in his voice. He said, my son was lost, but now I can rejoice. A robe upon his shoulders, a ring upon his hand. The wayward son had returned to his father's land. The wayward son had wandered far from home, but the love of his father had never left him alone. For there's a light that shines even in the darkest night, and a father who's waiting with arms open wide. shores of Galilee, where the waters met the land. A fisherman cast his net with a steady, calloused hand. He toiled through the night with no catch to be found, but in the quiet morning light a voice came with a sound. Cast your net upon the waters, in faith don't be afraid, for I'll fill it to the brim with the bounty I have made. And when the nets were lifted, they overflowed with grace, for the fishermen of souls had met them in that place. He left his boat and followed, with wonder in his eyes, no longer just a fisherman. He saw beyond the skies. The nets he once depended on, he laid aside with care, but he was called to greater things, to spread the love and share. Cast your net upon the waters, in faith don't be afraid, for I'll fill it to the brim with the bounty I have made. And when the nets were lifted, they overflowed with grace, for the fishermen of souls had met them in that place. Hey. Now he casts a different net into the sea of men, bringing in the lost and weary, according to God's plan. And every soul that's gathered is a treasure rich and pure, for the fisherman's promise is eternal.